Today we are making some halal guys, but vegan, and we're going to be doing the chicken, the rice, and the white sauce as well as the red sauce, and this was by far one of the best things I've ever made in my entire life. Every component is good on its own, but when you put them together, they are an unstoppable force, kind of like a Voltron of flavor. Now I got a chance to try the halal guys recently in Glendale, California, and while I thought it was good, I wasn't as blown away as I'd hoped, probably because I didn't order the white sauce or the chicken, which everyone raves about, seeing as they're not vegan, so I thought, why not make my own? So to get started, let's prep our vegan chicken. I'm going to be using my good buddy soy curls for this, but feel free to use whatever you like. Tofurkey could work, Daring works great, or this seitan would work as well. You can totally use tofu, just press it and then break it up into pieces, whatever you like. For the soy curls, I'm going to rehydrate an entire bag in 4 cups of this vegan chicken broth. If you can't find this or something like it, just use some veggie or mushroom broth. Will still be super good. So let's cover those in the broth, and while they rehydrate, let's put together our marinade. And now a quick note, this recipe uses a bit of garlic and lemon amongst other things. Please feel free to tweak this to your taste. On my first test, I added a ton of lemon and garlic, and my wife and neighbors all agreed it was a bit too zippy. In fact, one of them said it was about 16% too zesty. So I readjusted, but like I said, do plenty of tasting for seasoning and customize it however you like. And this marinade will make enough for 1 bag of soy curls. Your mileage may vary if you use any of the other products I mentioned before, but it's a super delicious marinade and any leftovers can be used on just about anything. So for our spices, let's add in 1 tablespoon each of onion powder, dried oregano, cumin, dried parsley, then 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of cayenne, half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, and some cranks of black pepper, and that's our dry seasonings. Now onto the wet stuff. And I'm going to be using some of this vegan Greek yogurt, but feel free to use vegan sour cream or even regular vegan yogurt, but you might need to add some lemon to it. But we're going to add in half a cup of the yogurt and then half a cup of vegan mayo. And then we're going to add in 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, or more if you like, and then a 1/4 cup of olive oil. I'm going to whisk that and then realize I forgot a half cup of unsweetened plant milk to thin it out. And now we're going to throw in our dry herbs and spices, whisk that, and then taste for seasoning. And I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of this vegan chicken broth as well, but that's totally optional. And at this point, I realized I forgot the garlic, so I'm adding about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, but add more if you like. And then it's just a matter of tasting and adjusting. I'm going to add a little bit more salt and lemon juice. And once it tastes perfect, it's time to drain and squeeze our soy curls. So go ahead and squeeze out as much of the liquid as you can, and once that's done, we're going to add our soy curls to the marinade and get in there with your hands and thoroughly coat each and every soy curl. And now you want to let that marinate for at least an hour or even overnight. Then once you're ready to cook them, it's just a matter of grilling them over medium-high heat until cooked through, and the fat in the marinade will help us get them nice and browned, which is something not easily done with soy curls since they have no fat on their own. And what's great is you can either make all of the soy curls at the same time or just cook enough for 1 serving and let the rest continue to marinate. Either way, once they are looking good to you, they are done. And now for the rice, which is super nice, we're going to wash 1.5 cups of long grain white rice. Just fill a bowl of water and use a strainer to clean the rice by agitating it with your hand. And once the water is super cloudy, dump it out and wash the rice again. You just need to do this maybe 3 to 4 times or until the water is relatively clear. And for our dry spices, we'll start with 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. And then next, get a skillet over medium heat and add a tablespoon of vegan butter and a tablespoon of olive oil. And then once the butter has melted, add 1 finely diced shallot and cook that for 1 to 2 minutes or until they start to soften. Then throw in about 3 to 4 cloves of minced garlic, cook that for a minute, and then add in the spices, stir those around and cook for another minute, and then add in the rice. And again, stir to coat and toast the rice just for a minute or so. And then we're going to add in 2.5 cups of that vegan chicken broth or veggie broth, whatever you got. We're going to bring that to a boil, and once it's bubbling, cover that and reduce the heat to low to simmer for about 20 minutes. After that, uncover, fluff the rice as you do, and then turn off the heat and cover for a few more minutes, and then you can fluff it again and optionally add in a tablespoon of vegan butter and stir that to melt it. And obviously, taste for seasoning, but I gotta say, this stuff was so dang good. I kept snacking on it because I couldn't help myself. Seriously, the best rice I think I've ever made. All right, now for the white and red sauce. For the white sauce, we're going to start with 1 cup of vegan mayo, a half cup of vegan sour cream, or you could use vegan Greek yogurt too, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of dried chives, a tablespoon of sugar, salt and pepper to taste, and then 2 to 3 tablespoons of water to thin it out. Then we're just gonna blend that up, taste and adjust for seasoning, of course, but that is your vegan white sauce, and this stuff is just amazing. I could eat it with a spoon, and I did. Now, as good as the white sauce is, I feel like the red sauce is really needed for some contrast. This was fairly spicy, so be warned and adjust as needed. But to start, we're gonna steep about 24 of these dried chilies in some boiling water for about 20 minutes or so. After that, to a blender, let's add those chilies, and I didn't bother taking the seeds out, but you can if you want. I'm also going to add in a half cup of the water they were soaking in, and then 6 cloves of garlic, our seasoning blend, which consists of 1 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, so throw that in there, and then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a heaping tablespoon of tomato paste. We'll blend that up, and it was looking a bit more orange than red to me, so I added in some red yeast rice powder, but that's totally optional and just for the color. I also thought it could be spicier, so I added in 1 tablespoon of cayenne, blended that up and tasted it, and that was perfect. And these sauces are just bananas good, and if you make anything from this video, you gotta make them, but they really do go great on top of this chicken and rice too. And I gotta say that this is what I would expect at the Halal Guys. And I can't say for sure since I've never had it, but this was just bursting with so many different flavors, which all meld together perfectly. The chicken and rice with their savory and earthy seasonings, the tang of the white sauce, mixed with the smoky spiciness of the red sauce. It's just a match made in flavor heaven. And like the past few recipes, this one passed the cold leftovers test, meaning I can eat this straight from the fridge the next day and it just totally hits the spot. But obviously it's even better heated up. So I really do think you all should give this recipe a try. And if you want to make something else with soy curls, I've compiled a playlist right here with all my soy curl recipes. So give that a gander, and until then, I'll see you all next time.